What's going on, everyone? My name is Another Radar, and welcome to a very special video on the channel. This is going to be one of the most laid-back team analysis videos that I think I've ever done. Normally, I have like really nice graphics. I'm going to take this off so that way I can hear myself. I don't like having it like that either way. Anyway, this is going to be one of the most laid-back team analysis videos I've ever done. This is for the P4G. This is going to be Season 3. Made it to the championship last season, won Season 1. I'm trying to make a three-peat of at least going to the championship, so I'm really excited for this season. We are doing a low-tier based system, which I'm not the most ecstatic about because I use low tier mons anyway in drafts and I still make them do work, so it doesn't really matter to me that they're low tier or not low tier, but having to face only low tier drafts makes certain Pokemon like really big threats, like Arcanine, Darmanitan, like Primarina. Like there's a lot of really good Pokemon that were allowed, but we did ban certain things of low tier mons. Primarina was one of them, P2 was one of them. Linoon did get banned because a lot of things in low tiers can't actually stand up to Linoon, which is really unfortunate because I did have second pick overall. If Linoon was not banned, I would have picked it, but it's whatever. So whenever I went into this draft, it was a free draft, just as long as you take 2 extremely low tier mons. You're good. So I was looking at a lot of the Pokemon that I wanted, and I realized that there's not a lot of very good Steel, Fairy, or Dragons, so I wanted to put priority on that more than anything else. Firewater Grass I can kind of sort of leave off till the very end because there's a lot of Firewater Grasses that can be low tier that can still be made good in this format. Things like Prinplup, Grottle, things of that nature can be really good. So my draft analysis is going to be focused on how I went about picking the team, not so much the team in mind, if that makes sense, or like not so much like specific roles. I wanted to focus on getting as busted of a team as possible. Typically whenever I draft, I like to draft around a certain Pokemon, like making Thundurus Therian or Landorus Therian do a crap ton of work, or I like to do it in that aspect of it. So this, I just wanted to get like the best Pokemon that I possibly could, and honestly I think this might be, in my opinion, I think it's one of the better drafts in this season, personally, but that's just my opinion. So let's go ahead and start looking at the draft. You can see my entire draft right now, but if you want to stay around and listen to the whole thing, that'd be really awesome. First pick, second pick overall, Metagross. Metagross gives me priority, it gives me Bullet Punch, it gives me Stealth Rocks, it gives me a Setup Sweeper in Rock Polish or I think it's Autotomize. Either way, really good stab in Meteor Mash and Zen Headbutt, has really good coverage, can go physical or special, really good Fat Mon, and it can be a reliable Stealth Rocker if I needed to, and it also gets access to Pursuit. So there's a ton of really good utility that comes in Metagross that the fact that there's not a lot of good steel types as it is, this makes having a really good steel type just that much better in the entire draft, in my personal opinion. Metagross is something that I could see myself bringing to literally every single game, and it would be able to do something different and something unique and still succeed at doing it. So once I got this, I wanted to focus on my Dragon and Fairy. So it went all the way like 16, and then it came back to me, and then I had basically 2 picks back to back with only 6-foot hacks in between my 2 picks. So I wanted to pick my Dragon first, which was Druddigon. I picked up Druddigon mainly because I wanted another reliable Stealth Rocker that didn't force Metagross to be the Stealth Rocker every single time. And having a fat dragon with access to Rough Skin and Sheer Force makes it really good offensively or defensively. And I do already have a Trick Room setter, and the Fairy that I plan on getting also did have Trick Room. So it gives me a really good offensive or defensive threat. It gives me a pure Dragon type, meaning it's not quad weak, so it takes a lot to KO this thing in one hit. And with 77, 90, and 90 defenses, it's actually really fat. But it has really cool utility move sets in Dragon Tail, Glare. It gets access to Stealth Rock, Sucker Punch. It's very cool. So I really wanted something that was like a fatter, like Dragon Fairy Steel Core at this point in time. And to round that out, I did go with Aromatisse as my Fairy type. Again, a really good Trick Room setter, a Wish Passer to heal up my other two parts of this core that do not have any reliable recovery, which is really, really unique for a Dragon Fairy Steel core. Normally, something on there has reliable recovery. This has Wish Pass, so that's really, really nice. Gives me a Cleric of Heal Bell, powerful Moonblast, and a Trick Room setter that also now in Gen 7 has access to Nasty Plot. So I can run like Trick Room Nasty Plot with Moonblast and like, I think Psychic. I think that might be perfect coverage. Nah, not steel types. I don't know. But it can hit like a lot of things really, 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 really hard. And access to Aroma Veil means that I can't be taunted. And that's really, really important for a low tier draft. Because if you can keep your fatter things healthy that are like better in low tiers, instantly you have a massive advantage against a lot of different threats. So once I picked these three, I had no clue what I wanted. I had literally no idea what I wanted. I wanted to pick the best offensive mon that was there, along with some bulky pivots and some wall breakers. So I was like, Sneasel's going to be gone whenever it gets back to me. Things like Nidoking and Nidoqueen were already gone at this point in time. So I'm looking at low tier wall breakers that I can get, because I knew for a fact I wasn't going to get any of them. However, it gets back to me and Sneasel is still there. Sneasel, one of the best offensive mons in this format, is going to be great with this Dragon Fairy Steel core. I have something that can really, really, really pressure steel types later on down the road in Monferno, along with Croconaw. Metagross and Druddigon can also pressure steel types along with Donphan. So this mon, it solidified the offense on my team, and I was like, this is great. It gives me another Pursuit Trapper, gives me another form of priority in Ice Shards. Now I have Bullet Punch, Sucker Punch, and Ice Shard. It gives me really, really, really good stab and access to stab knockoff. So this thing is just an absolute powerhouse, and its speed tier is really, really great. However, my speed tiers right now in general are not great, because I go from 115 to 70 to 48 to 29. So I definitely need to kind of sort of round those out. However, I do think that in this format, speed tiers aren't as important. That's because things like Mega Lopunny, Mega Arrow, Mega Beedrill, Mega Alakazam, Tapu Koko, things that are really, really fast like that, they don't exist. They just don't. So it makes it a little bit easier to speed creep things and have like a really fast mon, as well as like mediocre speed tiers to just deal with a lot of things. Either way, Sneasel, really offensive mon, and I think that it fits really, really well with these guys. I just need to figure out ways of breaking down steel types, so I got Donphan on the way back to me. Don't know how this thing lasted until round 5, personally. Arguably one of the best stealth rockers and rapid spinners in the entire format right now, with like in low tier format. And with access to 120 attack, 120 defense, it has really, really good bulk. I have 3 unbelievably reliable stealth rockers, along with 1 really reliable hazard removal in rapid spin. So this mon in general is just, it's great. It's great in regular draft. It's something that normally people bring to every single draft league game in high tiers. Low tiers, it's going to be even better. I'm super excited for it. You guys already know what Donphan does. I'm more excited to talk about these mons down here. So let's just go ahead and move on to Yanmega. Yanmega is a great wall breaker, right? Choice Specs, Tinted Lens, Bug Buzz, and Air Slash. They just destroy everything. There is hardly anything in the entire game that can take 2 of them, unless it's like quad resisted and you're max Spadef. So it hits unbelievably hard, and it gives me my first U-turner on the team. Now, if you know me, you know I like U-turn, so not having a lot of U-turn yet, it kind of sort of scared me going into the draft. So I really, really, really... Oh, excuse me. I really wanted more U-turn. So having a super offensive threat that is going to force switches in this format, along with being able to just wall break on occasion, makes me really happy. So now I have a really good wall breaker in Sneasel for the physical side, a really good wall breaker in Yanmega on the special side, and I have a speed boost mon. So that speed tier that I was talking about, that if somebody's like trying to speed boost up on me, I can speed boost right back. So I have some really good offensive mons. I want one more bulky mon because I like having the option, if I need to, of running 5 defensive mons in a game and 1 cleaner. Because if I see a team that cannot break my offense or cannot break my defense, I want to do it. So I wanted to get one more really, really, really fat mon in Musharna. Why did I get Musharna? Well, it's like Reuniclus, but a little bit better in my opinion because it has access to Baton Pass. But with base 29 speeds, same as Aromatisse, I have another Trick Room setter for my Druddigon, my Donphan, even some of these slower mons down here. So I have really good Trick Rooms. I have access to Synchronize, so they can't freely spam like Toxic or anything like that. Baton Pass, along with Reliable Recovery and Moonlight. And this gives me something that I like a lot of my drafts to have. I like every single one of my drafts to have a bulky psychic and an offensive psychic. This is because if I need something to be able to take hits from, like, say, I'm going to use this as a bad example, but it's not allowed in this season, like a Jirachi, I have that. I know for a fact that Jirachi can't, like, spam Zen Headbutt against me, while I also have a Metagross that can just Pursuit Trap it. Like, that's kind of how I look at having an offensive and a defensive psychic. So I really, really, really like that. And this thing has access to Healing Wish, which I think that's like a really, really big must. I think every draft should have at least one Healing Wish user, if not more. I think Healing Wish it's something that can take a game from your opponent thinking that they have it locked up to you taking it literally right out of their hands. That is big. So I really like that. Really good bulk on this team so far. Not a whole lot of offense, though. I have like Metagross, Sneasel, and Yanmega. So now I'm going for low-tier offense. And my favorite low-tier fire type is Monferno. This thing back in PU in Gen 6 was the best Pokemon in Gen 6 PU. With Eviolite along with Iron Fist, with access to Mach Punch, it gives me another form of priority even with Vacuum Wave. But with 78 attack, it has really strong Flare Blitzes and close combats, and this takes out the steel types that Sneasel doesn't want to deal with. And that's really, really cool for me, in my opinion. I'm super happy that I have Monferno again. I had it in XBL. XBL kind of sort of dropped off the map for me, but either way, I love Monferno so unbelievably much. Great Pokemon, and in low tiers, it's going to do so unbelievably well. So as of right now, my team is going to struggle hardcore with bulky ground types. Things like Claydol is going to be a little bit of an issue. Actually, not really, because I have Yanmega and Sneasel. But I wanted something else to help out with ground types and mainly rock types because of things like Rhyperior and Rhydon floating around. So this Pokemon, I've wanted to draft it for years. Since its hidden ability got released back in Gen 6, like in X and Y days, I've wanted to draft this thing. I think this thing quite literally could be one of the best low tier wall breakers, especially in this format, and it's Croconaw. Why do I think it's going to be so good? Well, just like Feraligatr has access to Sheer Force, it doesn't have access to Liquidation, but it does have access to Waterfall, it has access to Ice Punch, it has access to Brick Break, Crunch, it has access to every other move, and on top of that, in a tier-based system where 58 base speed isn't that high, it also has access to Dragon Dance. So this thing can be a sweeper, it can be a breaker, it can be absolutely amazing. I'm super excited for Croconaw. I think Croconaw has like massive, massive, massive potential here. It's something that I think a lot of people are going to sleep on, and then they're going to look at it at Team Preview and be like, okay, hey, where's my Croconaw switch in? Where's my bulky water type switch in that isn't weak to fighting or dark or anything like that? Because this thing does have really good coverage, like Brick Break, Crunch. It has access to even like Z Focus Punch, also Z moves, unlimited Z moves here. So I wanted to have really good Z move mon. So I have like Z Metagross, Z Heal Bell Aromatisse to get it all the way back up to full health, Z Sneasel, Z Yanmega, Z Monferno, and Z Croconaw. I think they're all really, really good. But Hone Claws, even if I wanted to run special, because realistically 59 with Sheer Force isn't that bad, I could run Scald, Ice Beam, Focus Blast. It has access to low kicks, has Shadow Claw. Like, this thing is just so good. I absolutely love this mod. I can even run SD Aqua Jet. So this thing just has unbelievable potential in my opinion. I love Croconaw. So right now, I think my team is done. Like, I don't need anything else. I have really good offense in my opinion. I have really good defense. I have some good pivots. But I was looking at the board and I saw that there was a mon left over that wasn't picked that I could not pass up, and that's Lantern. Lantern is so good. It's going to be really hard to kill, especially having two immunities. This gives me Volt Absorb and Water Absorb. So I have two more immunities. I have a Poison immunity, I have a Dragon immunity, I have a Psychic immunity, an Electric immunity, another Ground immunity. I have I think that's it, but now I have a water and an electric immunity as well on top of everything else. So I think that this thing is just going to be so unbelievably good at being able to just pressure so many different things. It's going to be really hard to kill. Base 125 HP, 67 speed, and this gives me my electric type. This doesn't give me an electric type that can easily break bulky waters, but what it does do is it gives me a very good bulky water type that can also pressure other bulky water types, and that's what I like the most. It gives me a really good Scald Switch-In, because as of right now I don't have the best Scald Switch-Ins. So that is what I have so far, and as of right now, all I need is a grass type. I was so torn. Oh my gosh. I was so torn. So part of me wanted to take Servine. Gives me a really good offensive typing. It gives me a really good base speed tier mon, knockoff, another defogger. It gives me access to Lee Storm Contrary. Sticky Webs can't sweep me. But at the same time, man, I've wanted to use Carnivine for so freaking long. I think 70s in defenses is actually really good for this tier, or like for this system. 100 attack and 90 special attack is really good. With access to Levitate, it gives me a ground immunity. It gives me a defogger that is not affected by toxic spikes or spikes, and they are not weak to stealth rocks. That is huge. And in case you didn't know, yes, this did get defog. This also gives me access to Acid Spray, which is one of my favorite moves in the game. I love this Pokemon. Knockoff, Leech Seed. Oh, I've wanted to use this thing for so unbelievably long. I just think it has so much potential. And it can take things like Gligar, it can Gastro Acid them, and then it can Toxic them and wear them down. And Gligar can't beat this thing 1v1. And it does get access to Synthesis. So I do have reliable healing on this as well. Super, super fun draft. Super cool mons. I think that the worst part about this draft is the speed tiers, because I go from 115 to 115 to 95 to 81 to 58, to 70, then to 58. 70, 67, then 58. So, like, I don't have the best speed tiers in the world, but they're not the worst. But that is basically the team that I'm going to be bringing to P4G this season. I'm super excited for it. I probably won't make any transactions. The only transaction I might make is Carnivine for Servine, but I like Carnivine. I want to keep it. But guys, with that, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're hyped for this season of P4G, make sure to leave a like down below for me. Also, make sure you leave a comment letting me know who else you're rooting for in the P4G. If you did not realize, Joey Pokegame MD is in this season. We also have Mr. Talent. We have Dan. We have Chase. We have Deathly I Am, who I face week 1, who I face in about 2.5 hours. But yeah, I'm super excited for this, guys. I hope you are too. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like for me, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.